My screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So last class we were discussing about IPsec, different modes of IPsec, that is transport mode and tunnel mode. Then I told you about the authentication header and encapsulating security payload protocols. What are the functions of these protocols? Okay. So there are a few diagrams in your textbook which is quite easy for you to understand, and it will give you a clear picture about the IPsec concepts. So I've taken the same diagram and I've added it here. Uh, this is the IPsec architecture diagram, and I have told you that in the IPsec architecture, there are around 7 documents in the initial point when we discussed about the IPsec. Please, you can make a note of it. There are 7 documents in IPsec architecture. Those documents are architecture itself. It's a diagram. Whatever the documents are available in IPsec architecture, you can see here. Architecture, ESP protocol, AH protocol, encryption algorithm, authentication algorithm, DOI, and finally key management. Okay. What is architecture? Basically, it covers the general concepts, definitions, security requirements, and mechanisms defining in IPsec technology. Is that clear? So this architecture will cover this architecture block or this document will cover general concepts, the definitions, security requirements, and other mechanisms defined in the IPsec architecture. That will be there in the architecture uh, document. And the second one is encapsulating security payload, that is ESP, this one. So you know already what is ESP. It provides data confidentiality service for the packets by encryption or by encapsulation. Okay. And optionally, it also provides authentication. That's why if you see here, ESP, there is a connection to encryption algorithm, and also there is a connection to authentication algorithm. Okay. So ESP, the major purpose of ESP is to encrypt the data and provide confidentiality, but to some extent or optionally it will give authentication also. But authentication, the complete authentication cannot be given by ESP protocol. To some extent it can give. Third one is authentication header protocol. Again, this also, it provides mechanism for data origin authentication. Is that clear? And it also provides integrity. Please keep this in mind. AH protocol will provide data origin authentication and integrity. So basically, if you look at this AH, there is a direct connection to authentication algorithm, but there is no connection to encryption algorithm like ESP. Okay. So unlike ESP, sorry. So AH protocol will give only authentication service and integrity service, whereas ESP will give confidentiality service and also to some extent or optionally it will give authentication service. Okay. Then the next thing is encryption algorithms. So what kind of algorithms are are there in this IPsec? Those things will be here. It includes the documents that describe how various encryption algorithms are used. Is that clear? This encryption algorithm document will include how various encryption algorithms are used. Is that clear? And in authentication algorithm, this includes or it will describe how various authentication algorithms are used. Is that clear? So the next, and also this authentication algorithm block should basically give the documents which have the option for ESP also, not just AH. Is that clear? And then DOI, what is DOI? You can note down this domain of interpretation. Is that clear? Domain of interpretation. It defines payload formats, exchange types, and operational parameters such as key lifetime. Is that clear? So domain of interpretation, it defines payload formats. What should be the format of the payloads? not the header format, students. Header formats, definitely it will be either ESP or AH or both, but this DOI will define the payload formats, what should be the exchange type, and operational parameters such as key, lifetime, many other things. Okay, that thing will be there in the DOI. And finally, key management. So it contains the documents that describe various key management schemes. Is that clear? Key management schemes means whether you want to go for um, uh, symmetric keys or asymmetric keys. If you are going for asymmetric keys, how you are going to get the public keys? If you are going to use asymmetric keys, how you are going to share the session keys? Those things will be there. Basically, management of keys will be done, or that document will be there in key management document. Okay, so these are the 7 major documents that defines the overall IPsec. Am I clear, students? Is the IPsec architecture clear to you now?
Sir, you said about the documents. So,
Yeah.
this is like structure, na, sir? Like whether there will be a separate document.
No,
Uh,
structure in the sense it is there is no like there is it's not a basically a organization or and structure. So it is just that all these are the part of IPsec. That's why it is called as IPsec architecture. So each and every part will have its own documents in it. Okay, that means how. Say for example, if you take ESP protocol, what is ESP protocol, what will be the header format of ESP protocol, what services it provides, to where it has to connect next. So those information will be there in this document. So that's why it is basically termed as architecture, but they all are interconnected to each other and they will maintain a particular document with it. That's clear. Am I clear?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So, what services does IPsec provide? I think we have seen that: data integrity, data origin authentication, data confidentiality. With that, you can make a note of the students. Integrity, confidentiality, authentication is quite common with any type of security services. But with that, this IPsec provides replay protection. Please make a note of it, students. It is not there in the slide. Please make a note of it. Replay protection. So basically, what is replay protection? It ensures that an attacker cannot, please make a note of it. It ensures that an attacker cannot intercept a datagram and play it back at some later time. It ensures that an attacker cannot intercept a datagram and play it back at some later time. Is that clear? That means attacker sometimes what they do is they capture the packets what that are being sent, and that will be altered, or they will do something with that, and finally later after some time they will send it to the destination. What destination thinks the packet has come from the right or legitimate user, but in intermediate in between source and destination somebody will access it. Okay, that is kind of that is basically replay attacks. So that also will be protected by IPsec. Then non-repudiation, we already know what is non-repudiation. Dynamic rekeying. Dynamic rekeying is one more feature provided by, or service provided by IPsec. Please make a note of it. Dynamic, RE hyphen KEYING. Dynamic rekeying. What do you mean by that? Keys can be created while sending data to protect segments of the communication with different keys. Is that clear? Keys can be created while sending data to protect segments of the communication with different keys. That means you have data now, you are using a specific key for sending your data or for encrypting your data. Immediately you will decide to change the keys, you can do that dynamically. You can do that. Is that clear? That is called as dynamic rekeying, and again those things will be managed by key management component or key management document in the architecture. Okay, these are the services of IPsec, students. So yeah, apart from this, yes, authentication header format, you can see the authentication
Sir,
header format. Yeah.
Can you tell dynamic keying again? Like you said, keys can be created while sending data,
Yes.
to protect them while communicating. So,
Yes, that means see, I see, I have a key. Okay, I'm using that key for transmitting my data. So I have to say I have 10 packets. I have sent 5 packets already. But generally, what happens for the rest of the 5 packets also, I will use the same key and encrypt the data. But if you want to change the key immediately, there itself you can change the key for next 5 packets. Exactly, of your communication. So you are dynamically changing the keys. That option IPsec have. Okay, that's the meaning there.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So next thing is authentication header. There are two major protocols, right, students? Authentication, three protocols: authentication header, encapsulating security payload, and internet key exchange. IKE is one of again a heart of IPsec, I can say. We are not discussing IKE today. We will see what is authentication header, what is encapsulating security payload, and the transport and tunnel modes with AH or ESP. Those things we'll see. I'll show you only diagrams today, and from that only you can easily understand. Okay, so this is authentication header format. Is it visible, students? I think it is not clear.
Yes,
If you
sir.
zoom,
It's fine, sir.
okay. Authentication header format, students. So what are all there in the authentication header format? You can see next header, payload length, reserved, security parameter index. We discussed yesterday with the security parameter index. Can anyone tell me what it is? I told you that this security parameter index will be there, or I said it in another way. I think I told you that security association identifier, right? So we discussed about security association identifier. What is it, students? What is security association? Yesterday we discussed. No, you remember anything?
Yes, sir. There were so many other terms like security association database, security
Yeah,
policy data.
that I will teach you today. That I will teach you today. What I'm asking
Uh,
is only security association. What is security association? Any idea? Okay, let me put it in this way. Security association, you can make a note of it, students, please. Security association is a logical connection between two devices transferring data. Security association is a logical connection between two devices transferring data, comma, which provides data protection, for unidirectional traffic by unidirectional traffic by using defined IPsec protocol. So security association is a logical connection between two devices transferring data, which provides data protection for unidirectional traffic by using defined IPsec protocol. Okay, hope you have noted it down. Security association is a logical connection between two devices transferring data, which provides data protection for unidirectional traffic by using defined IPsec protocol. So basically, every communication that you do with respect to IPsec, every communication one way. Say for example, I am sending data to you and I am protecting my data with IPsec architecture or IPsec services, then definitely that connection will have a security association with it. Is that clear? It's a logical connection. Okay, that is for one way. If you want to send a response to me and that also you would like to encrypt or use IPsec services for that, then that also will have a security association. Is that clear? So that is here what you see, security parameter index is there, right here, this field security parameter index. So that security parameter index is a 32-bit field. Okay, totally if you count 16 plus 8 plus 8, it's a 32-bit field, and the IP destination address identify the SA. Okay, please make a note of it. this security parameter index is a 32-bit field, and the IP destination address identify the SA. Is that clear? So basically, this security parameter index is a value which identifies the SA, and that value, since it is 32-bit, IPv4 destination address itself will be considered here. The IPv4 destination address will be taken, the same thing will be taken as security parameter index. Is that clear? So this will actually identify your security association. Is that clear? And every packet will have a sequence number, authentication data, okay, and then next header, payload length, reserved, some fields. Okay, so there will be
So
16. Yeah.
that means the IP destination address and will be the security parameter index, no, sir? They both will be the
Yes.
same, no, sir? 32 bits,
Yes.
32
They
bits.
both will be same. Yes. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Basically, instead of adding a new identifier for this security association, this destination IP address itself will be taken as the security parameter index. That's all. As simple as that. Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So that's about the authentication header format. Next thing is encapsulating security payload. I think yesterday we saw a diagram in the slide, but I feel this is more convenient or easier for you to understand. So security, encapsulating security payload have security association identifier. You can see here. So that security association identifier is a basically in ESP. In AH, to identify the security association, you will use security parameter index. But in encapsulating security payload, to identify security association, you will use a identifier, and that field itself is called as security association identifier, and it's a very big value. It is a pseudo random value. Is that clear? That identifies the SA for this data. This security association identifier is a pseudo random value that identifies the security association. Similarly, in the previous authentication header format, security parameter index is a value which identifies the security association, but that will be a 32-bit destination address itself. Is that clear? So here it is security association identifier. Then you have sequence number. If you compare the sequence number size of this encapsulating security payload and authentication header, it's only 32-bit in authentication header, whereas here in encapsulating security payload, the sequence number is very big, 16 plus 24 plus 32 bits. Okay. Then you have payload data, you have padding. Basically, padding bits are used for encryption. Okay. Then the length of the padding bits, next header, authentication data is also there here. Why? Because we know that ESP will provide like optionally it will provide authentication, right? That's why you need to have authentication data field here. Whether you provide authentication or not, the feature is there in the encapsulating security payload. Whereas padding data, pad length, that is not there in the authentication header. Why? Because it doesn't provide encryption standards. Okay. So only encapsulating security payload provides both encryption and both confidentiality and optionally authentication. That's why it has both. So is it clear, students, the structure of both authentication header and encapsulating security payload? Is it clear to you?
So that security association identifier, you said like it will be pseudo random value. So it
Yeah.
will be just like fixed password assaulting, no, sir. Just like how the random string gets added there. Here
Yes.
also,
Yes.
one random string gets added here.
Yeah. For every
But that is like
communication,
password. It is like it is
identity
somewhere in the
is just
ESP packet.
identifier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it will change. It will keep on changing for next connection. Say, for example, one connection from A to B, it will generate a security association identifier. From B to A, again, it will be a separate security association identifier, because you know that security association is only one way. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So that's about the structure of encapsulating
One
security
more
payload.
doubt.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
IP is only 32 bits now. So to generate that only uniquely, we have so many protocols like like 4 octants we will be having and so much other structures. But here it is 72 bits now, sir. Like how is it even managed? 72 bits and then
It is
uh,
just a random number. They might use a simple algorithm to generate some number. That's all. Since it
okay,
is 72-bit, whatever you generate, it won't repeat for that, at
yes,
least for that session. So, uh,
for such it is important, like to
yes,
not get repeated. Yes, sir,
yes,
yes, and that's fine. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. In a session, there will be multiple connections, no, sir?
yes, yes. In a session, there will be
Okay.
multiple.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So that's about the authentication header and encapsulating security payload. Yeah, difference or comparison between AH and ESP. So AH is defined in RFC 2402, ESP is defined in RFC 2406. If you want to see the complete information of these two protocols, you can just type in Google RFC 2402, 2406. You will get that details. Then AH provides connection integrity and data origin authentication for IPv4 and IPv6 packets. ESP provides confidentiality, data origin authentication, connectionless integrity, an anti-replay service, and limited traffic flow confidentiality. Okay. Uh, then AH protects as much as IP header as possible, as well as upper level protocol data. ESP only protects those IP header fields that it encapsulates. It doesn't think or it doesn't worry about the upper layer protocol data. Okay. Then AH requires less overhead since since it only inserts a header into the IP packet, whereas ESP require more overhead as it inserts header and a trailer. I showed you yesterday. It adds both header and trailer. So AH provides a stronger authentication in transport mode. ESP authentication is not as strong as AH, obviously, because for ESP, authentication is just an option. ESP's main purpose is confidentiality. AH, it is never export restricted. ESP requires strong cryptographic algorithms in order to be put into effect. So strong cryptography is restricted in some countries. Okay, so I think you need not worry about this point. So next thing is AH is mandatory for IPv6 compliance, and use of ESP with IPv6 is optional. Is that clear, students? So these are some of the differences between AH and ESP. You just have to go through this whenever.
So,
Yeah.
what is meant by data origin? So earlier also you said about uh, ESP providing AH providing data origin authentication and integrity. Like,
Origin in the sense, it is just you are finding the authentication to with a person or with a device where data got originated. That means from where your communication started. That's all. So it
oh,
is
yes, yes, sir.
a word. That's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that's all, students, about AH and ESP. So transport mode and tunnel mode, I have explained it to you properly. If you want a note of it, you can take it down now. Basically, please make a note of it, students. Please, very important. Transport mode, just take the heading as transport mode. Transport mode is more suitable for end-to-end communication. Is that clear? Please make this point. Just couple of points I want to give you about transport mode and tunnel mode, since it is important. Just note down, transport mode is more suitable for end-to-end communication. Next point, in transport mode, the original IP packet is segmented to allocate IPsec information. In transport mode, the original IP packet in transport mode, the original IP packet is segmented. In transport mode, the original IP packet is segmented to allocate to allocate IPsec information, between the IP header, and the remainder of data packet, Repeat again. Transport mode is more suitable for end-to-end communication. In transport mode, the original packet is segmented to allocate IPsec information between the IP header and the remainder of the packet. Is that clear? If you see here in the slide, students, see the first thing what you see here is a simple original packet. You can see you have IP header and you have payload. It can be either TCP or UDP or ICMP, whatever it is. So the transport mode, AH, authentication header transport mode. We have authentication header transport mode, authentication header tunnel mode, ESP transport mode, and ESP tunnel mode. Let us see the first one, authentication header transport mode. What we have observed in transport mode, a transport header, AH header, is that clear? So authentication header will be placed in between IP header and the payload. That's what I told you, right? The in transport mode, the original packet, this is the original packet, is segmented. That means it is divided, it is segmented to allocate IPsec information. Now AH header is the IPsec information between the IP header and the payload. Is that clear? That's what happened here. So what happens in AH tunnel mode? So in AH, okay, let us not go to the AH tunnel mode a moment, because we have seen transport mode. Now we will go to ESP tunnel mode. Okay, ESP transport mode, this one, because we are studying transport mode now. Now we know what is transport mode. Transport mode is suitable for end-to-end communication, and it splits up the packet to add its header in the actual packet. So in the actual packet, what it will be there, IP header will be there, payload will be there. Here also in the ESP transport mode, you can see IP header is there, actual payload is there, and in between IP header and actual payload you are adding ESP header, and you have to keep in mind that ESP will add a ESP trailer also, and optionally ESP will provide authentication also. So these things are also there in the ESP transport mode. Is it clear? Am I clear to you now, students, about the transport mode of in transport mode, the authentication header transport mode and ESP transport mode? Am I clear? You have
Yes,
any
sir.
question? Okay. Let us see the tunnel mode. You can make a note of the tunnel mode now. This method in general refers to this method in general refers to this method in general refers to embedding a protocol data unit, PDU. Embedding a protocol data unit, PDU. This method in general refers to embedding a protocol data unit as a payload for another PDU, full stop, as a payload for another PDU. The tunnel mode, next point, the tunnel mode is used to provide data security between two networks. The tunnel mode is used to provide data security between two networks. So basically, if you are communicating from one network to another network, basically tunnel mode is preferred. That's why if for your VPNs and all, we use tunnel mode, because you'll be communicating from one network to another network. If it is just in a network end-to-end communication, you can use transport mode. Okay, so we will see what is how the tunnel mode and ESP tunnel mode works. So in the AH tunnel mode, we know that the whole packet will be encapsulated into a new packet. So you can see here IP header and IP payload. This is the actual packet. You can see if you see the first this thing. This is the actual packet. For this whole actual packet will be encapsulated into a new packet by adding a new IP header. You can see new IP header. With that, obviously, you have to add AH header also, since it is AH tunnel mode. Is that clear? And now ESP tunnel mode, what happens? You have IP header. You can see this is the actual packet. This is the actual packet, and this actual packet will be encapsulated into a new IP header. And since it is ESP, you have to use ESP header. And also we know that ESP will add ESP trailer and authentication data also. Is that clear? So this is about ESP tunnel mode. So these diagrams, students, are very important. You should know this. The original packet, for the original packet, how AH tunnel mode looks, AH transport mode looks, then ESP transport mode and ESP tunnel mode. These things are very important. Please, I suggest you to write it once at least, because it is quite important. Am I clear, students, about the different modes, that is transport mode and tunnel mode, and how the transport mode ESP, transport mode AH, tunnel mode ESP and tunnel mode AH works? Am I clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so the next thing is security policy database and security association database. I think we'll start that in the next class. So we'll stop here as of now. Hope the things what I have discussed today is clear to you, because in the last class I feel it was not much clear to you all. So I thought I'll add these diagrams and explain it to you, so that it will be easy for you to understand the different modes, different protocols, in different modes how different protocols work. Okay, this is also important, students. Security policy database and security association database. I have just taken the picture of that page itself. So it will be easy for you to understand. I will explain it in the next class, because it takes little more time for discussing. So any questions, students, regarding this, whatever the topics which we discussed today?
Sir, could you share these new slides, sir?
I will share. I will share the updated file itself. You can
Thank you, sir.
delete the previous one and you can use this. Okay.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me.
Like basically in tunnel mode, payload will be getting encapsulated in some other format, no, sir. Like, can you make it clear how exactly IP header is getting added in the tunnel mode in both AH and ESP?
I'll tell you. This is a system. Okay. Consider here we have another system. You want to communicate from here to here through a virtual private network. What happens? There will be a VPN software here running. There will be a VPN software here also which is running. Okay, that should be there. Without that, you cannot go for tunnel mode. Okay, VPN software will be there in both the devices. What it will do, it will create a packet, right? It will create a packet, and that packet will have a small header. Write it as header. Okay, small header and data. Okay, so once that packet which is generated in the different layers, once it comes to this software, the software what I told. So VPN software, what this VPN software will do, it will actually add this diagram. It will create a new packet. Okay, it will create a new packet, and this whole thing as it is will be placed inside here in the payload part. Okay, whatever you have generated, that will be placed in the payload part. Okay, now for this VPN software will generate a new IP. Is that clear? And that will be added in the header part. Okay, so that will be transferred from here to the destination. In destination, what happens? This new IP, what is added, that will be stripped off, and this actual packet will be given to the application directly. So what is the advantage of it? Say I am a hacker here. In between, I am sitting. What I am looking for, I will know your IP address. I will be looking for any packet with your source IP address. But what happened here? The source and destination IP address is totally changed because you have added a new header there, right? So this intermediate person will not get to know that packet is coming from you. Why? Because I'll be just looking into this channel. Here I will be looking. There's some packets which are coming, but it is not a packet from this particular system. That is what this hacker thinks, but it is actually from this particular system, but it is encapsulated into a new header with a new IP address, and that will be taken care by VPN software. Is that clear? That is called as tunnel mode. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And in transport mode, uh, nothing like encapsulation as such happens. Like,
No.
can you explain that also, like in diagram, or is it like?
I think for that diagram is not required. Just
Oh,
you
okay,
have a packet here. Now consider this itself as a packet. This is the header
okay.
part, this is the payload part. What happens in the tunnel mode? In between header part and payload part, you are adding
Yes,
the
sir. Yes,
IP
sir.
header. That's all.
That's fine, sir.
That's all.
Also, sir, I have a doubt from T1, sir. Like, while reading, I got this doubt. So, for the two approaches for authentication, you mentioned that there are like password-based authentication and cryptographic-based authentication. And
Yeah.
generally, cryptography-based authentication is considered more secure.
Yeah.
Yes, no, sir.
Yes.
So I was wondering why is it so? Because in the password-based authentication, we already have fixed password hashing where we will be using hash functions, no sir. And in
Yeah.
the fixed password salting, we can add the random string towards the end to ensure that all the passwords are unique. So we are already doing hashing, which cannot be reversed on its own, and then performing the salting operation. So this is secure. And then even in the cryptographic based authentication only that MAC and MHA like so many other hashing functions comes no, sir.
Yeah.
Like so I was not able to relate. Hashing happens in the password based authentication too, except that it performs salting. Just
Yeah.
that in the cryptographic based authentication we will be dealing with symmetric keys, I guess.
No,
Yeah,
you're
so
encrypting, no? In the cryptographic based authentication, whatever you are entering, you are going to encrypt it and send it, right? Here, and one more thing is in password based authentication, you are storing the password somewhere. You might have stored the hash code of it or salting of
oh,
it,
okay,
whatever it
okay,
is, but you are somewhere storing it. If somebody access that file, definitely they will have all the passwords. It may be stored as a hash code, but it is stored somewhere. Okay. Even the
sir, one more thing, like what is more safe? Encryption means it can be decrypted. Like even though if it is secure, someone else can decrypt it. But
the
whereas in
thing is,
hashing,
what I
nothing
want to
like
tell you,
decryption can be there, no, sir.
yes, what I want to tell you is nothing is 100% safe. Every technique to secure your data has its own problems. Okay. Nothing is safe. See, whatever we say, we will encrypt the data, we will use that keys, we will use that keys, we will take the hash code, whatever you do, data should go in the medium, right? One or the other way, data should go in the medium. And it's just like somebody decrypts it, the hacker also can decrypt it if they get to know the keys. Is it clear? As simple as that. Nothing is safe here. Everything has its own issues. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. But on what basis you are telling like cryptography based authentication is more secure?
Because
Only because of passwords are getting stored, right?
yes,
Uh,
yes, yes. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
okay, okay.